Hey everyone, Sam here. I am getting seriously excited about a new wave of automation, ways we can be more productive as data professionals. And a lot of it is stemming from my exploration into this new framework, this new source product created, I think at least funded by Microsoft, not fully created by Microsoft, called Autogen. It took me a while to actually realize what this actually enabled you to do and what was actually possible. And I've been really diving into it a lot. I am by no means an expert at all on this, but I want to be. I definitely want to be. That's what I've decided after really digging into it. I'm currently just on their website, which is just done with GitHub pages, and they've got a lot of information on it, right? Tons. So a lot of these visualizations are actually quite hard to understand when you first look at them, but when you start reading through the documentation and you really start digging into what each of these things do, you realize, wow, okay, this is actually quite transformational. That's what my realization is. I'm going to show you just a couple of examples of why. I'll probably create a lot of videos. I think I'm going to create courses on this as well. Actually, that's kind of my realization of how big this is going to be. And it's all to do with just automation, AI agents. Just stop for a second and think, okay, what if you could couple everything that you do in your work with some sort of agent that checks you, gives you advice, does some automation off the back of it? Just think about from just an analytical point of view. Just from any data work that you do, you could have someone that helps you source data, who helps you do data modeling, who helps you do data cleanups, helps you do data analysis, helps you with your visualization, helps with your report creation, helps with your storytelling. Like, just think about it, right? Agents could proliferate in any number of ways, and that's just one sort of vector of what you could use an agent for. Okay, so this is just to give you an example. Okay, I'm pretty early in my exploration of this as well. Okay, so I'm by no means an expert at all on this, but I've been playing around a lot, and I'm going to do a lot more exploration around it. Okay, so here's just an example. Okay, here's just one example of why I think this is going to be quite big. Okay, so I'm just going to run through everything here. I'm currently just in Google Colab. I've been creating a few more videos around this, but and I've been finding it's just the best way to play around. They have recently introduced, by the way, something called Autogen Studio, and there's a whole universe of things being built up around these frameworks. So it's really quite exciting. But what I'm doing here, just in Google Colab, is it's also like I created a video recently about how important Python is becoming and why I'm spending a lot more time learning it. It's because of this. It really is actually. This is why I think you have to have a good understanding of Python. I don't think you need to know how to write out every single piece of code from scratch, but you need to understand it. And that's what I've been spending a lot of time doing myself, just really, really spending time studying it, understanding it more. Okay, so I'm just installing a few packages there. You've got to install py autogen, matplotlib, yfinance. Okay, and I'm just going to import a few additional things around that. Okay, by the way, I got a lot of this code from the GitHub repository for Autogen. So, I did some small adjustments, but not to any of this more complex stuff. But basically what this is doing here is it's enabling me, because what Autogen is going to do, or what these agents are going to do, is one's going to write code, another's going to execute the code, then another one's going to evaluate the code, another one's going to create the visualization. Okay, so you can get agents to do like very discrete things within one discussion, within one chat discussion. So that's and there's a lot of work being done on sort of chat patterns. It's really quite fascinating. It really is. Okay, so I'll just run this as well. So this is going to enable me to actually run code within the discussion environment, which you'll see in a second. Okay, so here is me just with my API key. So I'll just add that there. And by the way, like, it's pretty cheap to run this stuff, so I'm not even really spending that much money. I mean, I think I'm spending less than $10 a day or something, just practicing and learning. So it's really, really not that much for pretty like next generation skills, in my opinion. Okay, so then this is where we write out the agents. So I won't go too deep into it, but you know, these all change depending on the sort of agents that you want. But basically, there's a code writer agent, and then there's a code executor agent. Okay, so then there's some ways that you need to write these out. You need to get the format right. Like seriously, I've been doing so much pasting something in, changing some code, getting an error, trying to figure out the error. There's a lot of there's a lot of that as you work through it, but that's just part of it, right? It's part of learning this. Soon, I think, will become easier, which I think will be really helpful. Okay, but I'll just run this here. This is me, just describing the agents, like what I want the agents to actually do. Okay, so there's a lot of nuance to how you set these up, but I've just been copying them from the documentation and putting them in here, making small adjustments, getting AI to help me make those adjustments. Okay, so this is where the agent is actually going to run. Okay, so this is what the main thing I wanted to show you. Okay, so this is where I'm initiating the chat. Okay, and there's a range of ways that you can do this, but this is where I want to show you the automation part, okay, where I think this is quite transformational. Create a plot showing the stock price of Microsoft, and then after, do exactly the same thing for Apple, then do it for NVIDIA, then do it for Amazon, and then do it for AMD. So you see here, I'm just describing with natural language for this AI agent to do 5 different things for me. Okay, so just extrapolate that out and think, wow, could we actually do this on any data? And that's where I think this is going. It's not as easy as this, by the way, but this is where there's nothing stopping you doing this 20 times, doing it as many, like just setting an AI agent going overnight and doing a whole lot of stuff for you, right? So, and this is just analysis. Just think how wide the scope is for these things. It is kind of mind blowing when you really, really think about it. Okay, so I'm just going to go here and let's watch it do all of these steps and how quickly it actually does them. Okay, so this is the AI agents talking to each other, right? So code executor to code writer. So it's doing those steps there. It's going to import all of the. See, it's actually executing them within the chat. That's what that big long code block was doing before. Okay, so it's done the Microsoft one for me. Done Apple, done NVIDIA, and done Amazon, and done AMD. I mean, that's pretty insane, right? Okay, and then it comes back, and that was all within a discussion between agents, right? So there was, I didn't do anything. It was all them discussing. I didn't even write any code or anything. I just prompted, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then it went and did the code, ran the code, put the image here, did the next thing. This is without doubt the future. I basically have no doubt about it. When you can overlay these sort of workflows onto a whole range of different, especially like data tasks, it's going to be next level. Okay, so I'm just going to exit here. So I could have done more if I wanted to, but I'm just going to exit. Okay, so that is the main thing I wanted to show you. Like, this is why, one, I'm super excited about AI agents, and two, why Python's becoming just way more important in terms of learning. Okay, so expect a lot more content from me around this. And look, I think this can couple with even a lot of the other work we might be doing. We might, I want to see how I can integrate this into maybe my Power BI workflow, actually. Like, how can I get this to help me with Power BI? Google Colab is not going to be the only place that you actually write this. You might be able to actually do this within a Microsoft environment pretty soon. There is an example on here of doing this within Microsoft Fabric. I haven't replicated it or anything, but it definitely is possible. I mean, this is a Microsoft tool, right? So I would expect this to grow within the Microsoft universe. I really would. Okay, this is relatively new. This is something they've tried to build a simpler UI on top of this, right? For me to get this going, for me took a long time. I will say that there's just a lot of issues. But I'll just show you one thing that you can do here. I'll just show you one example, right? Okay, so I'm going to create a chat. They're trying to just simplify the UI experience, right? And they've given me a couple of examples. So I'm going to run some stock price analysis here. It says plot a chart of NVIDIA and Tesla stock price for 2023, save the result. So you see here, but it's taken a lot of like the code away from you, and you're just actually just writing simple natural language, right? And this is why can't you do this in ChatGPT? Well, I think you can do some of it in ChatGPT, but not to the extent like that. That is what I think the agents are enabling, right? Is they're enabling you to automate a lot more. Like there's always a restriction in terms of what you can do within a general chatbot experience, but these agents could potentially go off and do a whole lot of evaluation and behind the scenes, come back with a simple answer, a really long answer, like a huge thread of an answer. I think there's just tons of potential in all sorts of different dimensions around this. What this is actually doing here, by the way, is it's actually running a lot of it on my local machine here. This is probably for another video because I'm still trying to get the hang of like exactly what that's doing as well. But this ran for quite some time, right? Okay, so it did a whole range of things. For some reason, why is it not coming up? It should have given me an image, actually. It should have given me an image. Even though if it doesn't give me an image, it's all right. See, it looks like it's working through some errors here. We can actually, think like all of this is being done with these agents. Pretty amazing, right? Yeah, I think it's running into a bit of an error, but that's all right. That's all right. We'll just probably leave it. One of the things you can do, by the way, is you can copy this. Check this out. You can copy it. Say we want to, this is another way of getting a lot of code quite quickly. So we can actually put this in here. So it's actually written a lot of the code for us. I'll just get rid of that. Let's see if it does it for us. Yeah, there you go. So it can write a lot of code for you. So even what I was thinking, how this could eventually help is that, maybe you could just get it to write. So you could give it some data. Like let's just do a bit of a thought bubble here. You could potentially give it some data, ask it for all the interesting insights. You could then ask it to go and write all of the Python code and run all of the Python and execute all of that code automatically and give you all the imagery if you want. Or you could just get the code and then use the code and build up your own notebook. That's a totally legitimate option as well. So tons of potential. Okay. I'm just going to keep showing my learnings here. I don't have all the answers right now, but I do know I'm almost convinced that this is going to be huge. I really am. I think this has the potential. I mean, maybe it might evolve into something else, but just conceptually, what is going on here is just so big from a productivity point of view, and just anecdotally from just a lot of people I've been listening to and I've heard from. This like agentic workflow is the next big thing. So yeah, this is gonna be a huge deep dive for me going forward, no doubt about it. Okay, I'm gonna round off. Thanks, team. I will talk to you soon.